campuses at the time that I left in 2005. So it was just great to see a lot of growth in Asian American Studies on the campus due to a number of factors, but especially the students and other supportive administrators. So during this time, I served as advisor to the Asian Pacific Student Association for a number of years, and also advisor to, there was the Asian American Studies theme house in Arroyo Vista. I don't know if it's still there or not, but we had a theme house. So there were a number of different activities that I was involved with there. I was also involved with there's the Asian Faculty and Staff Association. So I served as chair for that organization for a few years. So I felt that it was really important for me, not only in my role as a psychologist in the counseling center, but also as a community member to be involved and engaged in a number of things, so including Asian American Studies, including, the faculty and staff group, and also in my own professional organizations like the American Psychological Association and the Asian American Psychological Association, which I was a member of. I thought that it was important to be active and be a member in those organizations. When I was teaching Asian American psychology, I realized that there were a number of students, and it was a pretty large class usually, like maybe 200 students, 150 to 200 students, that I usually taught once a year, and that there were a lot of students who really never thought about psychology as a career, going into psychology. So it was a great opportunity for me to work with a lot of students and encourage them to go on to graduate studies. So, I'm happy to say that I think, there are a number of students who've gone on into the field, just through learning more about psychology and that it is a viable option and career. So I kind of strayed a little bit.
No, it's fine.
I work in a counseling center.
Yeah.
I had opportunities to take on different roles in the counseling center, different kind of responsibilities. So I became the assistant director of the counseling center. And part of my role was also being in charge of the internship program there. And the internship program is for psychologists in training. So there are doctoral level psychologists that come from universities all across the country to complete their internship. And we took 4 interns every year. And so I was in charge of that program for about 12 years, I think, before I left. And so I really enjoyed being involved with training and mentoring students at all levels, from undergraduate to, the graduate doctoral students that I worked with through the internship. But I think what I really learned, along the way in my experience at UC Irvine, so I was there over 15 years, was that, I took advantage of the different opportunities that came along and opportunities to get involved in the community outside of just the counseling center. And then, so in 2005, an opening came up here at Cal State Long Beach to be director of the counseling center here. And, it was very hard for me to leave UC Irvine because I felt like I was very entrenched there and, had a lot of friends and a lot of support and really enjoyed the work that I did. But, I just kind of felt like, well, if I want to become a director of a center and have that experience, I might need to go somewhere else and go to a different campus. So, so I applied for the position and was fortunate enough to be offered the position and decided to make that move in 2005. So I've been here on this campus since that time, so 7 years now. And after, after 2 years of being the counseling and psychological services, my boss retired, who was the associate vice president for student services. And I was lucky enough that my vice president asked if I would be interested in taking on this position. So I think I hadn't really thought about that. I think I was just very fortunate to be kind of in the right time, right place, that, I had this opportunity. So I actually moved out of the counseling center and into the main student services division office. And I work closely with our vice president here. And so in my current position now, what I do is it's more administrative, and the different units that report to me are the counseling center, the career center, disability services, outreach, EOP, testing, veteran services, and the federal TRIO program that we have. So I have about 8 different offices that report to me now. So it is, it's a little bit different than what I had been doing, these years, working more as a psychologist or head of a psychological center. But now I'm doing kind of a lot of different things. So I'm more involved on a campus-wide level in terms of budget, in terms of enrollment issues, working with students kind of on a different level. And I'm still active with, try to be active with our Asian American Pacific Islander student community. We've been working on trying to get an umbrella organization because pretty much the organizations here have operated pretty independently, like the Filipino students and the students. So what we've been working on is trying to develop more of a kind of collaborative effort that's been going on, and I've been part of our campus Journey to Success initiative, which is part of the Cal State system operating out of our chancellor's office. And that is, we have 4 different campuses in the Southern California area, LA, Fullerton, Dominguez Hills, and Long Beach. And we're doing a lot of outreach to our Asian American Pacific Islander communities. But we're really targeting what we're calling our underserved communities. That is, those communities that might not be typically thinking about going to college. So, for instance, in Long Beach, we have a very large Cambodian community close by. So that's been our target community. And like Dominguez Hills, they have a large Pacific Islander community, so that's been their target community. And what we've been doing the last few years is a series of meetings and workshops and programs to reach out to parents, high school students, and middle school students to really think about going to college. And, for some of them, they just kind of don't know where to start or where to begin or financial aid or any of those things. So I've been very involved working on this project and really, really enjoying it. I think, sometimes you don't realize that there is still a lot of need out there, even though, at places like UC Irvine, it's like a huge Asian American community, but there's still many pockets of people who don't have the resources or the knowledge and information. So we're really trying to reach out to those communities through that effort.
Yes, of course. I agree.
So that's kind of where I am right now, and a little bit about my background, about kind of how I got here.
Okay, that sounds great. I was really when Johnson initially told me about this program that was very geared towards helping the APAC community, I was immediately very interested because myself, I am Asian American, and I find that a lot of times there's that struggle with reaching out to certain ethnic groups, and at the same time, with the pressures of the model minority myth and whatnot too. So that's definitely, it's great that you are. This is some of the work that you're doing. Yeah. And so that was part of question number 2, but you already answered it, so we're just going to go ahead and skip over that.
I've already answered some of the questions along the way. So feel free to just stick around.
That's great. Just another question. As an Asian American woman, what hardships have you encountered in the field of higher education? So I guess a lot of times this relates back to a lot of feminist theories about the glass ceiling and I guess also stereotypes about the Grace Lee. Are you familiar with that stereotype?
Wait, the stereotype of what?
Grace Lee.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because that was part, I'm bringing up Grace Lee because of that's actually one of the main introductions that we got upon like starting the quarter off in this course I'm taking. She like introduced us to the Grace Lee Project and about how Asian American women are